Well, good Sunday morning for Faye and myself, and Saturday evening for many of you. Thanks so much for spending this time with us. And we're lucky to have Faye with us again. Always a pleasure, Faye. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Evan.
It's nice to be
Nice,
in your
bright
time.
and early for you.
Yes, I'm in Faye's time zone. I'm currently in Japan right now. Faye's in Australia. So it lets us do some things at a time that are normally not so accessible, at least for me. So we're going to be talking about how to help your kids regulate emotionally, which is not just calm down. So we'll get a little bit of what it is to actually regulate. And of course, it's very difficult to do that if you yourself are not regulated in some way, and how you can kind of hold that space and be present with kids, as well as some specific techniques. You may have seen Faye before. She is an expert on the subject, especially working with kids. So we wanted to give a more broad framework. And then, of course, we'll get a little more specific and give you some ways to work in much more detail with Faye
Mm.
on how to actually do this with your kids, do this for yourself and for your kids. But Faye, to kick things off here, why don't we touch on the subject, not just of like tapping or a technique, but actually what regulation is, what it means. We know it's a bit of a buzzword, which means it's also getting misused a lot.
Mm.
So maybe we could set the tone for what is it to regulate? Why is it important to help your kids do that and
Yeah,
you do that?
yes, 100%. Well, you know how people say you should sleep on it. Yeah, you never make a decision or a choice when you're feeling heightened and you feel the palpitations in your heart, your breath shortens, and you're trying to make a quick decision about A or B or C or D. And it's hard for you not to just go jump in versus someone telling you, let's go sleep on it, and then tell me tomorrow. Sleep on it, and then let me know. And then when you take a break from it, you'll know, like your gut, your intuition will decide for you, will tell you. And so when we talk about regulation, it's that heightenedness, right? Your nervous system spiked, your cognitive thinking, where language is especially, is shut down. And so sometimes when you're heightened or panicked, you can't get a sentence out. There's no clarity. And when it's happening to a child inside a meltdown or tantruming or they're upset about something, it usually will trigger that in yourself as well as the parent or carer. And so, at a very simple, basic analogy, when you're calm is when you're regulated. When you can think clearly about the different options is when you're regulated. And when you can breathe properly, you're not feeling the palpitations, you're not ruminating over darting from one thing to another and experiencing the anxiety, then you're regulated. And it's at those points in time that, as an adult, you make decisions. And for a child, they're able to then express themselves to you as to what's happening, how they're feeling in their body, whether they're actually physically hurt, or even tell you that, Johnny punched him, pushed him, took his truck, and that's the severe meltdown, or that he wanted Nutella on the pancakes, not butter. Right. Right. And that's the meltdown. So it's really about making sure that you're centered and grounded to allow the co-regulation. You hear that a lot.
Yeah.
It's basically mirroring, right? So the kid can mirror you, like mirroring breathing when you've got a newborn on your chest. It's mirroring that so that they get the access for their nervous system to down regulate, to be able to communicate and let you know what's going on.
That's a great picture. And maybe we can, or you can paint the picture a little bit of like in the
Mm.
moment, what it feels like for mom or dad, like that moment where dysregulation kind of starts to happen and what these typical responses look like. So, for example, is this like when, okay, you're at the supermarket and your kid is starting to misbehave, and then there's this initial kind of onset. Maybe you can describe that moment because it doesn't announce itself as like, hi, I'm dysregulation. It's like these
No, it
very
doesn't.
normal things that
Yeah,
people experience all the time. But I think everyone
yeah,
can relate to what you said, like your mind starts darting, right?
yeah.
Think decisions become more like emotionally reactive.
Yes, yes. Well, simply there's a surge. You feel a surge in you. And then your thoughts will go, oh no, not again. Here we go. I can't stand this. I've had enough. I'm fed up. So there's a physical surge. And for you, it's familiar. It's familiar as in, like, you feel it in your knees and it's coming right up, and you know you're going to blow it. And a lot of mums go, I lose my shit all the time. Like, I'm quick tempered. I'm yelling at the kids. I just can't, like, my nervous system is shot. So yeah, I hear that and see that in a lot of mum groups, parent groups. And I'm quite sure with the dad, even though they're a lot more contained, but there's when the anger surges, they're able to contain it. But once it's past that point, it just boils over. And so at that point, the kid's like startled. It's like, who is this monster terrorizing me? Right? They're petrified because dad's containing, and then blow. But whereas with the mum, it's like she feels the agitation. So the first point is you feel the agitation in your body, your own style and variation of it. And then the thoughts are like, I can't believe this. I'm not cut out for this. I'm fed up. This again, like, I can't work it out. I don't know what's wrong. And then you're just trying to fix it, right? The
Yeah.
fix it words are like, just calm down. Do you want an icy pole? What do you want? Right?
Yeah.
Here, have this toy. Here, have this. And you try and distract the child, right? And because you're grappling for a solution, you're grappling to have some peace, you're grappling just to finish the shopping, you're grappling to go, can't I just get 15 minutes to myself? And that happens all the time where it takes a millisecond for your subconscious mind and your body to feel um, the similar scenarios
Mhm.
resurging. Now, it's pertaining to your child or pertaining to the circumstance that's happening at that time. But what it's drawing up is something that's probably quite deep seated, right? It could be from your own childhood. It could be because, when your kids in a kindergarten, first grade year, still not making friends, and you're triggered with your own primary school experience of not making friends. Or your kid's going through a difficult time trying to understand something, and the teacher not supporting him or her, that you go, oh, I remember not getting it. And then so you're dealing with your own incomplete stuff from your childhood and high school years. So that's complex, right? But it's always a physical sensation, the darting thoughts, and then you know your limit of I can't contain this. I'm going to blow. So I have a lot of compassion for parents experiencing this. I mean, my child's in high school now, so I no longer get that surge inside a shopping center. But when you see parents doing that, I just go up and help rather than, there's the keyboard warriors going, oh, I'm so concerned for the child. Doesn't the mum understand the child? Da, 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 da. It's like, well, in those moments, it's like there's so many things happening to you, your nervous system regulation, to your subconscious, to you being hijacked, that the adult, need help calming down, let alone the child. So I usually will walk up to those parents and offer help or offer the distraction to the child so they can calm down, not go tell on them. Right.
Yeah, no, that's a whole other can of worms for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it's familiar. The experience comes up as your particular flavor that you felt probably a million times as a parent of here's that annoyance, here's that agitation, here are those repeating thoughts. And as we know, as facilitators, there's like two different versions of things. There is the sort of what do you do immediately in the moment, which I think what we'll kind of focus on today. And then, of course, there's a deeper layer, which is like, why does this come up?
Mm.
And what are the kind of patterns behind this? Why am I uncomfortable around anger? And I can't contain my child's anger, which is probably something you need to go kind of go explore and like it goes back to your own childhood. But like in the moment, of course, your child is like about to throw a candy bar in the supermarket is not the time for you to investigate. Okay, well, what in my childhood?
I wonder what's triggered in me.
But it's
I
good
need
to
to chat about this with Evan or Faye.
right, right. It's good to be aware that those two kind of tracks exist so that you're not thinking of it as strictly, okay, I get a tool that helps me calm down, and then I just have to use that thousands of times every day for the rest of my life. Like there is a trajectory where you get dysregulated and triggered less, but I think most important, first and foremost, is okay, what does someone do in that moment? What's a different path for mom to go down when she has the awareness, okay, the energy is starting to come up from my knees. I feel the thought, oh God, here we go again, right? What's the turn of the keel to like start working with this a different way when it happens?
It's there's a lot of self-awareness that's needed. So you can probably already think about the patterns of how it happens and then how you feel and then the thoughts that come up and then the physical sensations that surge. Those are the recognition patterns that you're really related to. So we insight tapping, we always ask the clients for their subjective units of distress called SUDS. Is it a 10 out of 10 emotion? Like, is it the intensity 10 out of 10 or is it like 0 or 1? Right? And for you, you'll know that when it's about a 3 or 4 out of 10, you're like, oh, I need to nip this in the bud. And that's the point where you're still in control somewhat of your thinking and then you can communicate, all right, mummy's not feeling great right now. I'm feeling my anger rise. I need to help you, but you need to help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just by acknowledging it. So, insight tapping, we acknowledge a lot of what's going on for ourselves in our body. Like we will go, even though I feel this anger in my tummy, it's a 6 out of 10. I love and support myself. So, the communication to your child is to actually say that too, right? And something that we'll talk about later is that the capacity as to a lot of children can hold that space for you as their parent because they know, all right, mummy is angry. I've seen her angry before. I know she now needs my cooperation, right? They do get that. They do get that. Yeah. But it's the recognizing that and then expressing it. That's the first step. So it's the awareness and then the expression.
Very cool. And even the awareness is something that can take practice because these things become so automatic,
Mm,
right?
mm,
It's just like kid does X and it just comes out of your mouth. Just stop, like whatever. It just comes out in that tone. So making just it's almost like a mindfulness kind of thing. Like, okay, what's the experience that's happening right now? I mean, you
mm,
know you're upset, right? But tuning into it as like, oh wait, let me feel this in a little more detail. Let me become aware of what my particular flavor of it is. Because I bet some people, maybe a lot of people, even when you described it like, okay, there's this energy that comes up from my knees and I feel it rise, they might have immediately said, oh yeah, that kind of happens for me too. But you're not thinking of it in that way because it's not like you're tracking your body when this stuff is happening. You're just like dealing with life and trying to, get something from Walmart or whatever. But like
mm,
even just thinking of it in terms of like, no, this is a physical process that actually has steps before it gets to like words coming out of my mouth.
Mm,
And so be just putting like a little thing in the back of your mind that says, let me have a little awareness of how it comes up for me.
mm.
And then that is necessary for you to be able to put words to it.
Yeah,
But that's an interesting thing to even say to a child because it's like you're kind of respecting what they are picking up almost certainly. So like
yeah,
you're calling out like, hey, this is what's happening right now,
correct.
rather than just getting to the like outburst or the effect that has
Yes,
the impact that you don't want.
yes.
So it's like a practice. It's like with adult communication in a lot of ways too, right? Being aware of what's going on for me first so that I can name it.
Mm.
And then I like how you're saying name it and not, express what's happening as opposed to just, okay, Faye, how do I fix everything first? And almost like keep it from getting to my kids' awareness, which is not possible because they're picking up on it.
Yeah, and that's one thing that when I'm tapping with a lot of clients, they get to learn once there's the long lasting change in their regulation.
Right.
Because a lot of parents want to fix it, yeah, rather than just to name it and then pausing, which is a real art, a real craft. And the more regulated you are, the more aware you are of your body sensations, how you operate, what you think, what the predictable patterns are, the more you're able to call yourself out. But that self censoring comes a lot longer down the track,
Yeah.
right? But the quick awareness is like, oh, this is happening. I'm about like it'll take 30 more seconds and then I'm gone ski. Like that's it, point of no return. So what I do at that time is to start tapping, right, at the one point. And I sometimes I might find myself triggered in the car about something or other that's going through my head and I'm driving, but my son's sitting next to me. And I just start doing this and then he'll go, Mummy, what's happening? Are you
Mm.
okay? So he starts checking in on me because he knows how come I'm doing this. There must be something going on, right? And then he'll start prodding me. No, tell me what it is. Are you okay? What's going on? And sometimes I don't want to tell him, but he knows that something's there, and then it's a co-regulation, and he knows then okay, I need to be more switched on for mum. And you'd be surprised how awesome kids are in terms of they can offer their regulation when the parents dysregulate it too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's go back to the process in the moment, right? So you're
Mm.
saying you sense what's coming up for you as far as like getting a little dysregulated because of something happening with your kids or if you're a teacher working with kids, right? It doesn't have
Mm.
this isn't just for like your own children that you've
No.
given that you're raising. You become more aware of the physical sensation, the way it kind of arises for you. Verbalize it, speak it out as one approach. And then you were saying there you add some tapping,
Mm.
perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of is setting the regulation for yourself. And the reason we're talking about that first, which is interesting and a lot of people don't necessarily realize, is that kids actually, depending on the age that we're talking about, in many cases, we're talking about younger kids for these
Mm.
types of examples, like
Mm.
obviously throwing things in
Yeah.
the tantrum in
Yeah.
the supermarket.
Three,
Hopefully they're
four,
not,
five, even
yeah.
6 year olds. Yeah.
If your 16-year-old is
Sometimes
doing that, we've got other issues that are beyond my
issues,
scope.
different, different things.
But it's because they can't do this themselves.
No.
So it's really, really important, I think, to think about not just like, oh, I'm going to give my kid some sort of breathing technique or a tap or something and expect them to just handle it by themselves. They literally get their sense of regulation and okayness from you, and you can't fake that. That's what's so powerful and interesting about this whole subject of emotions and regulation and dysregulation is like, you can say, no, honey, I'm fine. They know you're not. So that's why we're doing these things first and not pretending I'm fine, but getting as centered as you can, using these tools to get you there, precisely because they can't do it without you.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of, I often do get a lot of parents that, and I'll get the complaint from the one parent about the other parent to say, well, they think that my 3-year old can calm down when they say, calm down, it's okay. And a
Right.
3-year old can't do that. Or,
That's, yeah.
yeah. And that's the first and foremost in terms of parental education, in terms of the emotional first aid and emotional context, is that kids look to the parent, look to co-regulation to help them ease, to help them discharge, because they're firing off in their body. They can't control it, and they don't know how to calm down. And that's just a survival instinct to cry out and call out for help, and usually to the adults that are around them, mum and dad, grandparents, auntie, uncle. And so it's not about trying to fix it, it's about trying to get it. Get that they are upset, get that they are melting down, get that you're confused as to why they're crying and you have no idea. Um, and just to understand that they're dysregulated. They're this ball just pinging off anything and everything, and they can't feel centered or calm in their body. So they need your help to calm them, but they need you to be calm to calm them. Because if you're flying off, like a fit of a handle, they're more dysregulated. You like whenever you, and I've done this too. I've been angry, and a child gets more distressed, right? And I'm angry at what's happening, and the child gets more distressed, or they're shocked. So you need to calm yourself down first, and quick, smart, immediate. Try and do it as quickly as you can, so that you can hold space for your child.
That's so important to understand. And they can't do it.
Mm-mm.
Like when you say calm down, just imagine anyone else telling you to do something you can't do. Like,
It's like
Faye,
the
play.
men. It's like telling women to calm down. This doesn't work, does it? So if it's not
Yeah.
going to work for the adult, it's not going to work for the child.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. 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 Yeah. So now maybe we can transition a little bit into the um helping things that help them a little more specifically once you've gotten a little more regulated yourself. I mean, everything you've talked about helps them, but
Mm.
we haven't been like tapping with them or doing anything necessarily with them yet in that
Mm.
quite way. But
Mm.
or are there any things that we would want to, or you would want to frame first before kind of moving in that direction?
Well, let me share with you what happened in the middle of the night tonight. This morning, this is the very few things my son will still let me chat with him about, because to him, I'm still mum. I'm
Yes.
mum first before practitioner. So, but he'll come to mum for certain things, which is nurturing, the emotional first aid, and all that stuff. And he came into bed, I don't know what time it was, but he snuggled up to me and he said, Mum, I think I've had a bad dream. And he's on my left hand side. And so I quickly pull him in, and I'm looking like half eyed, and I'm groggy, and I'm still half asleep, and I'm tapping on his collarbone point, right? And I go, Tell me about it, right? And I'm not here to re traumatize him by having him express to me how scared he was, what happened in the dream, how many people there were, what's actually, what's actually happening and how scared he is. But I'm asking him for details, and I know to prod him, even at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, prod him for details. And we're not re-traumatizing them, but asking for it, but we're just listening.
Mm,
We're listening. And I'm tapping on his collarbone point like this, right? Whilst I'm asking him to tell me what's happened in the dream. And then at the tail end of it, and as practitioners, we're looking for the cognitive shift, what we call the cognitive shift. So he sighed, he went, and then he turned around and went back to deep sleep. And I knew at that point it's shifted for him. I've done enough until waking hours. So when your child comes to you for something and you need to down regulate and help them regulate because they're in that panic. And when it's a dream like what my son had last night, the subconscious doesn't tell the difference between what's real and what's unreal. So that's why he woke up scared and still came for assistance. Right. So that's how come we need to down regulate for the child. So regardless of whether something is makes sense to you as an adult, is practical or logical, or you don't get it, or you're confused, it makes sense to the child. So you start by listening and asking them what's happened. Yeah. But that was in the middle of the night. He was already quite relaxed, but obviously panicked. And that's why he knew to come to me. And I forget the question, but we were attending to.
no, that's great. We were just kind of transitioning into like, okay, you've got your own things to down regulate
Mm-hmm.
to get a little more regulated, and then kind of transitioning into what we say and do with the kid that we're dealing with. And so
Yeah,
in this case, you're talking about like he's your son, he's getting close to you, you're actually just tapping on the
on him.
points as one
Yeah.
example.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say some of the situations, if even applicable at all, where there's a little more of like maybe you're in public, maybe it's that grocery store example again. Okay, you calm down a little, you regulate yourself a bit, you communicate what's going on. What, if anything, do you then add or say or do to the child who's having the meltdown or dealing with that in the moment?
If you can, tap on a physical point
Just like for them.
for them. I still remember at 5 or 6 years old, straight after school, I'll be there for school pickup. And my son or some kids will just see mum or dad, run to them, start crying because that's a safe space. And they'll have a meltdown whilst they're crying. And so if my son runs to me and hugs me and starts telling, just rambling, but upset, I'll reach for his head, which is here, and I'll tap on the top of this point here, on top of his head, and I'll just hear him out and give him the space and the time to cry it out as well. Not be in a rush to get to the car because I've got a 4 o'clock appointment and school finishes at 3:30. Right? It's tap 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 and allow them to just outflow. Outflow however they like. They might feel that they need to like get it out of their hands and arms. And I've seen it, kids punch and kick. But they don't punch and kick with the intention to hurt you. It's because the energy or the anger is actually in their physical extremities. And they just need to get it out. They're not going to stand there and go, I'm going to do some star jumps and get it out. In those moments they're gonna go, it's not fair, blah blah, and then they're just angry and you see them grip their fists, right? Or they want to kick the rock or kick the school bag. And that's okay. It's them exerting and processing and trying to get the energy out of their physical extremities because
Mm.
they feel it in their bodies first as well. So just listen and let them be. Make sure you're safe and they're physically safe too, right? But let them be. They're not doing any damage. I mean, if they're taking things off the shelves and chucking it on the floor in the supermarket, you physically remove them, right? But if you're at school and they're coming up to you and they're kicking the school bag, but they're punching you, just and as long as it's safe, just let them be until it discharges. It's like someone venting. You know, when you're
Yeah.
venting as an adult, you're venting to a friend, oh, gosh, blah, 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 blah. And then to a certain point, you stop venting and you go, oh, I feel better now.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what's happening with your child. They're physically venting because they don't have the access to the words yet. So let them vent physically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you encourage any of the physical movements, like if their arms want to punch or kick, is there a way to actually kind of say, yeah,
Yeah,
do
some
go ahead and do
parents,
that, you know?
yeah, I mean, not
Not to
like, yeah,
not
sure,
punching
go,
you in the
go,
face, but you
yeah, no,
know.
no. But some parents that I've worked with, and I figure out with some kids, and I find it usually with boys that I work with that they carry a lot of energy and angry energy in their hands and legs, and in a catch up with the parent afterwards, I'll go, maybe you should try karate. Maybe you should try boxing. Do they love kicking the ball around? Do that. Go like get a trampoline, have your kid jump it out in your yard, like those trampolines are netted trampolines. And so physical activity is, I encourage it and I might even make that as a suggestion, right? And it's like, well, up to you, but I think they'll like jujitsu or I think, some sort of punching will be great, like a boxing or buy a punching bag for the garage.
Yeah, the punching bag, kicking bags saved my life when I was growing up. I mean, I
Okay.
was really into martial arts and yeah, I used that quite
Yeah.
often after school and after. I mean, that's a little older,
I
but
know, but still, it's like it's because kids, well, we're physical beings. It's all held in the body, especially before your cognitive brain's developed by the time you're 25. So anything that's anxious, stressful, distressing is kept in the body as well. And you need to help your body metabolize that physical sensation that's familiar and that's always in the same spot. So punch it out, swim it out, run it out, go to jiu-jitsu, don't know, go to golf, whatever. Yeah.
very cool.
Do the physical activity. Yeah. And these days, kids are too much on the screens. They're sat on
Yeah.
tabletops at school. Um, and it's building in the body. And no wonder the 5, 6, 7-year olds straight after school, they're in the safe space and they have a complete meltdown with their parents. So physical activity is so important.
Yeah, and we lose touch. It's hard to remember just how much energy that is to have in the
Mm,
body. So
mm.
it's super important to be aware of that aspect and not be expecting kids to just like be still and calm down. Like that's just not it. That's not
Yeah.
the way energy works. It's like it's
No.
already too contained. Half the time they're, having to contain it at school a lot and like they really want to be yelling and screaming. So,
Yes.
it's like the volcano's erupting and you're trying to make it go back in.
Yeah,
Mm.
no. No. Doesn't work. No. Are there any questions on the chat?
Yeah, I was gonna say that out loud too. And thank you for the donation, my friend who put it in there.
Oh.
Not any questions in the chat yet specifically about working with kids, but they are welcome. So anyone go ahead and please put them in, whether that's about tapping with kids or the regulation part of it. I'll respond to the other question. I'll just respond in the chat there. And then also like, so you started to kind of transition into ways to use some tapping with kids like in the moment.
Mm.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how you work with kids, like more as an actual practitioner, which may not, this may be not necessarily something mom or dad uses, but there might be variations of it that are, for example, like not the meltdown, but hey, I'm dealing with a
Mm.
difficult thing at school, or I'm really nervous and shy, for example, and it's bringing up these emotions and how you use tapping. I guess we go sort of the two directions with it. One is there anything mom and dad can use? They don't have to be tapping practitioners, even if it's just a point to kind
Mm-hmm.
of help them through the like more, what's the word? Not just in the moment experiences, but ongoing challenges.
Yep.
And then any of the little nuances about um, just maybe a quick overview of some of the things you do as a practitioner who actually works with kids before we then check again for questions and we'll explain how to go like much more deeper into the actual like tapping with you and all that stuff.
Yep. Well, quite simply, with kids and their ongoing challenges, is there's plenty of videos, and I've done some videos where I've tapped on the video and showing parents where to tap. And so, usually, as much as you can, when available, with the access to their physical self, tap on them or teach them how to tap. That when something comes up for them and they can recognize it, just start tapping. All right. And usually with children, I go to them, what's your best tapping point? And this is after a session. And they'll go,
Mm.
I like this point. And I go, all right. So I say, whenever you feel the big feeling coming up, I just want you to start there. And they understand it because they usually, like yesterday I was tapping with a kid, and she was telling mum what was happening for her in terms of what we were discussing, and she went like this. I just saw her go like this. So we're observing their bodies all the time, and I just interjected and I said, right now, where's it in your body? Like as you're discussing this, where is that feeling in your body? And she says, there's butterflies in my stomach. So they are very aware. So as soon as something comes up, just go, remember to tap, remember to tap, remember to tap. And if that's too much thinking as well, for the child to go, remember to tap, you might have to breathe with them. Just some breathing exercises. Let's go, okay, breathe with mummy. Take in a breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just help them breathe. And even if that's too much, just go, that's all right. Watch my chest go up and watch my chest come down and then go up and then down. Because we're triggering the mirror neurons, right? For them to sympathize and to co-regulate. Mirror neurons are, it's like if you see someone being stabbed on TV and you go, ha, like that, it's happening on TV, it's not on you. That's mirror neurons activating. So when you're breathing in and then breathing out, or even as you're looking at me breathing in and out like right now, can't speak,
Mm.
you might be finding yourself down regulating with me as I'm breathing in, but making those movements breathing out. So it's asking your child to help to mirror you in the moment. Failing that, you just hold them and tap on them and breathe in and out and have them follow your breath.
Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah. So very much goes back to that co-regulation thing. It's more the
Yeah,
connection and the
yeah,
presence and just using the tools as they are kind of
yeah.
designed to work with the body.
Yeah, parents often forget that. And when I'm doing the initial family introduction session into tapping, I usually will have a child, a parent, maybe to two in the room. And my work is not only with the child, but I'm holding space for the parent as well. And I can tell from their physical reactions and how they interact with their child or interact with each other, what's happening. And so I'm tapping about a certain topic that the child's distressed about or anxious about. And I know it's triggering for mum and I know it's triggering for dad.
Yeah.
And that really then points to there's some work there with the parents that I need to do, but usually I just work on the child. And as they go along, the parents see the benefit, and then some of them go, I think I need to tap with you too.
Right,
Because
right,
they're
right.
finding the topic that's distressing for the child is actually reactivating some parts of their past for them that they know they're still holding on to.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's almost certainly why regulation is difficult around certain emotions or certain topics consistently. It's because
Mm,
you, as the parent, have an often unconscious discomfort, aversion to
mm,
whatever is coming up in
mm.
your kids or the kids that you work with. Because the things that you're actually comfortable with, you probably don't even think about this consciously, but
No.
it's just able to be resolved because it
Mm,
doesn't trigger something in you. So your body then just takes over. You have this fluidity, you have cognitive fluidity. You can think of a solution, you know what to say, you know how to handle it. If your kid expresses certain emotions or acts in certain ways, you're not going to know what to do or how to respond because you yourself have an emotional relationship with that emotion. It brings up a certain trigger in you. And it's a really, really useful clue. So, it's not just to tap with your kids because it's their problem.
yes, you've hit the nail on the head. yes, there's some parents that I go, by the way, I've had other parents sit with their child through their first tapping session. And the parent at the end, when I'm debriefing with them to go, how was that for you? They start crying. And they're like, oh, I think I need the tapping, let alone the child. And then there's some parents that I say that to, they go, oh, really? Stuff will come up for me. because they'll just hire me to go fix that situation, right?
Right, right, right.
And they'll go, no, what do you mean it comes up for me? It's like, well, you're human, right? And I can't tell your body, let's have that memory and that emotion, and not that memory and not that emotion. And you think that you can compartmentalize and control that? Think again. So I did tell them, yes, it might be triggering for you. I don't know whether it will be or won't. But given it's your child, of course, there's an emotional connection and an emotional investment there that they're well, and that's why you're looking to me to help them. And obviously, there'll be some things there for you that may come up. And I can't control that. It's in your body.
Yeah, yeah. Very good. And we do have a question from Blue Rose 430 for Faye. What age is optimal for a kid to begin tapping?
The earliest, I would say 4 years old, 3, 4 years old. The youngest child I've tapped with, children actually, are 4 years old, and they get it. They really, really get it, and they'll know that they're a lot more aware of their body the younger they are, and they'll if they're fighting with their sibling and they're feeling not nice or big feelings. I've had mums go to me. I've seen him just stand there in front of the TV and start tapping because he knows there's emotions coming up. So from about 4 or even beforehand, right? Because they mimic, they'll start doing that. And naturally, this is quite a natural point for kids. If you say, chocolate or vanilla ice cream, and some of them will just think,
Yeah.
and then they go chocolate because this is a clarifying point that's part of the algorithm, the sequence of tapping points. And so it's quite intuitive that they go there. Or when you see something shocking, you cover your mouth, right? And there's another point there. Or you do this to brace yourself. Again, that's the collarbone point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, it's the thymus area, but it's the collarbone point. So
Very
all
cool.
these algorithm of points are actually can be quite natural and intuitive, and it does relate to parts of your body where emotions stored, and we're using the points to sweep the body for where the emotion's stored.
Very cool. Question for Faye. Can you tap on yourself or the parent for a younger child? I
Can you
guess
tap
meaning
on?
like probably younger than 3 or 4. Can you tap on yourself or the parent for a younger child? Maybe like surrogate is the nature of the question.
Not too sure what that means, but if they're a toddler, I will just tap on them, right? I don't have my soft toy here, but the toddlers here, I'll be tap 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 tap, or just tap wherever is accessible, right under the arms, on top of the head, collarbone point. Would I tap on the parent? I'm not too sure what that means.
It Claudia, she does mean it like surrogate kind of tapping. So like I
Oh,
guess on behalf of
the
child.
child?
Yeah.
Yes. When you're down regulated as the parent, you can surrogate tap for your child. Not a problem. Once I took my child to school, and one of the dogs that we know the owners. One of the dogs walking to school had escaped out of the gate, saw my child, and went play, 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 play because we played
Mm,
with the dog before. And Max was 5 years old at that time, and this 40-kilogram dog jumped him. And Max was just bawling his eyes out, and I'm heightened. I'm yelling at the dog. I'm pulling his collar, and then I'm grabbing another older child and go, "Can you please walk Max to the end of the hallway?" And I'm returning the dog. Returning the dog. The owner comes running, and I'm like, "Here's the dog. Like, go." And he's scared that I'm going to report him. I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do that because stuff like that happens, right? And my child's fine. Just emotionally a bit wrecked, but fine." Anyway, got him settled, went into class, and he's okay, calmed down. And then that day, I actually had my own tapping session already scheduled. And so I did a surrogate tapping session on Max, on my child, while he was at school. Um, and he seemed fine after school. And I think 3 weeks later, we bumped into the same dog, and that's when I practiced the exposure therapy of the tapping session, and
hmm
I made sure that he was okay with the dog again, right? And that
hmm
was okay. I was just observing it. And I said, go up and say hi and give him a pat and da 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 da. And the dog's like play 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 play, and Max was okay. So I was just testing like using the exposure therapy to go, is he okay?
Very
So
cool.
yes, surrogate tap on your child once you've calmed down, or get a tapping session to surrogate tap for your child.
Great. Yes, thank you for the question. Thank you for the answer. And let's mention the workshop that you have coming up because
Yes.
I am a bit, I don't know if I'm patient zero, but I am a bit of a patient zero of sorts for Faye's kind of teaching about how to tap with kids because it's kind of a wild story actually, which I don't think I ever really told. You know about it, obviously, where we did, Faye and I did an interview some time ago, maybe
Yes, about a
over,
year ago, year and a
yeah,
bit ago.
at least a year ago.
Mm,
Might have been when I was here. And talking about just like how tapping is so beneficial for kids. And after recording it, not after uploading it, no one had seen it yet, but after
mm,
recording it, literally
mm.
like days after, someone sent an email, was like, would you be willing to tap with one of my kids? And I was like, this is too weird, right?
Yeah.
So, um, Faye kind of gave me like a little summary of some ways to approach that. Because literally, if I had been asked that like a week before that email, I might have said not no necessarily, but I would have said like, well, let me think about it. Like, I wouldn't really have known exactly where to start.
Yeah.
And it was so helpful. The not only the interview, but then like the things that Faye gave me is literally like a little cheat sheet. Like, okay, do this, and I knew exactly what. Okay, talk to the talk to mom first. You know, some things about how to handle the first session. For
Mm,
me, what was really interesting was there was a lot of like there were assumptions on my part that I had to kind of tiptoe around things more than you actually do. And Faye was kind of like, no, you can just
go
name
straight
it.
into it. I
Just do
think
it.
the question was, if it was a nightmare, do I tap around the nightmare? Do I go straight into the nightmare and ask for the scene?
Mm.
There was something, I think it was that question. I go, no, 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 ask for all the details. You go, really? It's like, yeah, go in, ask.
Yeah. Yeah. The resilience was like incredible, you know, especially as someone who doesn't have kids. So there might be practitioners like myself who don't have kids and I don't like interact with them a ton in my day-to-day life. And so I was like, well, you know, how much of my thing can I do when
Mm,
it's with a kid versus like, oh, it's with a child, so I have to put on this completely different hat and be like goofy. No, I didn't have to be anything. I was just me. But
yes.
I had these guidelines and they were super, super helpful. And they
Oh,
gave
thank
me
you.
like a place to kind of literally like, okay, okay, this is beginning of the session. And then during it, I could do my thing, but have a lot more like just groundedness of like, okay, cool. Yeah, kid. And the irony was, of course, as you know, in some ways easier because kids are more expressive. They're less guarded.
Mm,
They're less like, oh, I don't know if I should say this. They just say it. So it's like, oh, this is actually kind of easier in a way because it's just telling me straight up. Yeah,
yep.
this is what it is or not. And it's also very cute because, you know, I like if they've seen you on YouTube, which was the case for me, it's like, you're the guy from YouTube, you know, so there's that kind of kids have a different relationship with YouTube than those of us born where I
Yes.
was, like in the 80s, you know. So
Yes, I
it's
get called the tapping lady. They don't often use my name. And when mum
yes.
puts me on video in front of them, they go, "Oh, you're the tapping lady again." It's like, yes, I am.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. So let's talk briefly about the workshop. Well, I put it on screen. So it's going to be for parents and practitioners, and
great.
a little more like I mean, more process oriented, like for parents in the sense of you don't have to be a tapping practitioner. You don't have to know much of anything, how to do tapping, except like maybe you know a point or two, but it's going to be kind of what to do with the kids, like even some literal what to say, how to approach it
Hmm.
with kind of, okay, now practitioners, as you're watching that happen, but then sort of like with the side notes for the practitioners. Okay, now for practitioners, notice how we're doing this, notice how I'm saying this, notice how we have the ability to go here and here. So it doesn't have to be a whole separate universe of like what's for the parents, what's for the practitioners. It's really going to be effectively for both. But anything you want to share about the framing of it and what you will be sharing with everyone while I put it on screen there.
Yeah, so often when I tap with the children and and the is in the room and I have a debrief with the parent afterwards, I actually pre-frame and tell them how come I've gone this way, I've gone that way, I've gone this way, I've gone that way. And it wraps around for them. Oh, so I understand now. And then they're like, oh, that's why you're doing it and I can't do it because I'm the person that's outside of the whole thing, able to assess and facilitate it. So that's why I know that this workshop will work for both practitioners as well as parents because I'm doing the contextual framing so that from a practitioner point of view and a practical point of view, the parent's like, ah, that's what's happening. That's how come we're going there and not going there, right? And then for the parent itself, him or herself will go, okay, I've now got somewhat the tools to immediately facilitate emotional first aid, right? Not to excavate and de traumatize my child, but to at least have them calm, have them regulate, have them feeling better, and with clarity able to discuss what's happening. And that's what you want to achieve out of making sure that everybody's emotionally and physically okay. And then for the prackies out there watching this and doing the workshop, is to go, okay, so inside the workshop, that's the material I need to deep dive and
Yeah.
help out. Cool.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. It's like the foundation of how to start with this, how to work with it, how to use it with your kids. And also that gives you the context to see what it brings up for you
Mm,
that you can then tap a little more deeply, whether that's, okay, I just need some time to process for myself, or there's something a little more here. I need some sessions around this, or however you
yeah,
work with things that come up for you.
yeah.
And yeah, it's really helpful to have some guide, and you'll get the cheat sheet, updated version
Yes.
from what I used, but
Okay. Yes, it
I
is.
literally used it myself, and that's why this is coming into existence. That's why we're doing this. And Faye's been talking about doing it for a while, but I was like, well, I've got everything set up. Like, why don't we kind of so Faye will be teaching it. I'll be hosting it in the sense that I'll just be there to kind of
Yeah.
collect your questions, kind of run the technology of everything.
Yes.
And just like now, if anyone has any questions for Faye or about the workshop, put them in now. I'll be able to kind of direct them to her and keep track of all those things. But if you can be there live, great. You can ask them live. If
Mm,
not, you can submit them. You'll have a way to submit them to me beforehand. I'll
yes.
ask them for Faye, and then it's something you own. Like the
Yes.
recording of it is not just like it's a one time. So the
Yeah.
recording will be something you can go back to and reference. I will be doing that. The cheat sheet is something you can use for, it's not just for practitioners. It's like, it's got some things like, okay, if I'm in the grocery
In the
store
throes
type
of
of,
it. Yep.
yes, here's a couple points. Here's just the
Yeah.
reminders. Okay,
Yeah.
do this, say these couple words, tap on the
Yeah.
collarbone, right? It's a
Yeah.
very handy
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah. Yeah. So the workshop will give you the framework and the understanding, and will give you the clarity as to when you can do this or when you actually need to seek help. So that's really clear guidelines for parents to go, okay, right. It's not because I'm a failure and I don't know how to parent or there's something wrong with me. It's because this is happening and I get it. At this point, it's beyond me, but at this point, I can actually do something about it. So it empowers the parent in the moment. And then for practitioners, they can that's the whole thing of how you can ascertain and discuss with the parent as to what's happening to be able to support them as a practitioner, as a counselor. So yeah, so that's for um, the 24th in terms
24th
of
for
Asia,
us. Yep.
Australasia, Asia times, and the 23rd evening for the US, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'm hoping y'all can see the details there on the screen. I put a link in the chat, which just takes you to the page you're looking at now, so you can see the details. It's a couple weeks away, or no,
Mm.
no, not really. It's a little over a week away.
Yeah.
So there's some time. We want to give you time to know about it. Time to ask any questions if you have them. You can submit them. There's more information on this page. Still welcome to put any questions now. We'll be wrapping up in just a minute, but um, questions in general for Faye, let us know. Put them in the chat here on YouTube. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I've already been kind of benefiting from this conversation and using these things. So I'm excited to have the chance to do a longer deep dive on it and hear some more of the nuances because Faye does it a lot. And so that, it's just like music. It's just like when I talk about tapping with groups and stuff where I'm having like a smaller conversation with other practitioners. The real good stuff is like in the experience of having done it a lot and like, well, yeah, because okay, I had one child who was like this, but see, some kids are like this, and so you have to kind of, these are the conversations that only really happen with someone with a lot of experience with something. So someone like me could talk about tapping with kids kind of in the theory, but I haven't tapped with dozens and dozens of kids. I haven't seen there's this type of, I can talk about that with adults. I have a very large reference base, and it's really fun to talk about that stuff. So I'm excited to get into the nuances here with Faye, who has that kind of experience and raises and has, raised kids too. So you kind of and teaches other practitioners, right? So it's a really unique combination you have because Faye teaches at ES. She's a mentor at EFT Universe, which is where that's how we met. That's when I was
Mm,
getting my clinical certification there. So it's a unique combination. I think you have, Faye, that would make a workshop like this particularly interesting because you teach people to become tapping practitioners, but you also have children clients and
yes.
mom clients, and you are a mom.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so
Different aspects all covered. Yeah.
yeah, impossible for me to do a workshop like this. You know,
Yeah.
for
It is.
musicians, great. I got that unique thing.
Yes.
So these types of things are just they're just so much better when someone is like the real deal.
Yeah.
They're really speaking to what their thing is. Claudia, yes, you can just go to that link. It should all work. Let me know if anything doesn't, if you want to register now. And by the way, I mean, if you register now, the cheat sheet's already in there. The workshop will start when it starts, but you can get that right
Perfect.
away.
Okay.
Um,
Superb.
yes. So yes, you can just use that link there. Um, cool. Any other things you want to any main takeaways, maybe recap for just okay. The topic is help your kids regulate. Regulate yourself first,
Yep.
become
Calm.
self-aware. Hmm.
Hmm. Listen, it's the listening part and giving them the space to be distressed, be upset, crying, melting down. Give them the space to be. And just remember, it's like venting for adults, but they're
Hmm.
venting physically and emotionally, obviously. So it's the being and giving them the space first, and then tapping to regulate if you're able to. And then it opens up the next stage, which is conversation and communication.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing that's so nice about tapping and at least the way you and I conceptualize it and approach it is like it's not a tool that's like let's put the emotions back in and get the kid to calm down through suppression, right? It
Mm,
actually aids in what actually works more sustainably and can even rewire things, which is to get it out, get it to process, not tell the kid to calm down. These are not tools to calm you down by suppressing it better, which is what happens a lot, right? That's like what
yes,
you learn to do as a kid when you don't want to make your parents upset. And
I
we
know.
both have so many tragic situations of clients where parents were abusive or anywhere.
Yeah,
And but it doesn't have to be
yeah,
that extreme where you just learn I
yeah,
can't express anger. I can't be angry around mom, so I have to learn how to contain it. And that can
yes,
look like, oh, the kid knows how to regulate. That is not
yeah.
regulating. That is
No,
not at all regulating.
yes. And those coping mechanisms become then like it's the personality. It drives personality and then it drives um, what works for people in life. And that's what works, but it doesn't serve them, especially when you're 25, 35, 45. To regulate as you did, you coped with as a 3, 4, 5, 6 year old. And so that's
Yeah.
when, for parents, they go, Oh, maybe I need some work on myself.
Yeah, I didn't frame that part of it very much, was which is like way, I think way more than just helping your kids calm down with the kind of things you're presenting here and more detail in the workshop is like this is setting their stage for a completely different future.
Correct. Yep, 100%. It's better to regulate and have them know the tools now and have them be okay with asking for help now and being used to that rather than if you just want to reflect on yourself, the shutdown, how you coped, how you avoided, how you detached, and then as a 30, 40, 50-year old, flipping out when it's happening to you or going, why is my life like this? I shouldn't I have gotten over this by now?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, well, because your 7-year-old cell's running you. What the programming is. It's collected
Yep.
decades of evidence and you're still ran by it.
That's
But that's a
every
different
session. Yep.
that's in the workshop.
Every session we do with adults ends up to being getting back to those things that became coping mechanisms
Yeah,
and
exactly.
reconditioning that and creating the space where what you had to be and who you were forced to become as a
Mm.
kid because the emotions couldn't process. So you're saving yourself, you're saving them a lot of time and money and bad decisions and all sorts of things. However, you
Heartbreak,
expose them to this.
upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh,
Awesome.
for that. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for the questions. Thanks for the donation. That was very kind of you. Thanks for the participation. And of course, thank you, Faye, for being here.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks,
Great
Anthony.
stuff. I am excited to see you in a week. And
Yes.
looks like some people said they plan on seeing us there. So that's going to be
Perfect.
great.
Looking forward to it.
And we'll see you all soon. Thanks so much.